So with that, we're storing all these answers, but now we also must make sure that at a certain point of time we don't continue presenting questions, because otherwise we'll run into an error again once we run out of questions. And to make sure that we don't reach this page, we can actually use this selected answers list here to find out at which point of time we have actually answered all available questions. Because of course, here we add one answer per question to selected answers. Initially it's an empty list, and at some point it will have as many answers as we have questions in this app. Therefore, what we can do instead of this choose answer question here is we can add an if statement, about which you learned a little bit earlier already, and compare the length of selected answers to the length of questions. And if the two are equal, we know that we have answered as many questions as we have. So it's then at this point of time where we should stop. So to make that comparison here, we can access selected answers. And then on this list object here, we got various utility properties and methods, as you learned. For example, we have a length property, which gives us the amount of items stored in that list. And we can check if that is equal to questions.length. Now for this, we must make sure that the questions defined in this questions.dart file are available in this quiz.dart file, and that's of course done by importing them. By importing from package advanced basics, and then there from the data folder, and there from questions.dart. With that, we import this list of questions from that file, and in quiz.dart we can now compare these two lengths. And if they are equal, we know that we ran out of questions. So that's when we want to switch to the result screen. At the moment I have no result screen though, therefore right now I simply want to switch back to the start screen. Hence in here we can call setState to trigger the build method again. And in this anonymous function which we pass to setState, we can set the active screen back to start screen, to make sure that we show the start screen instead of an error once we ran out of questions. With that, if you save this and force the app to reload, you should be able to start the quiz and answer these questions by picking any answers. But once you're done, you're back here on the starting screen, instead of getting that error which we got before. Now what you'll notice is that if you now start the quiz again, and you go through all questions, you will get this error screen again. And we get this error because we don't reset our selected answers. Therefore, we'll actually have more answers than questions, and this condition will never be met again after it was met for the first time. And we could work around that by simply resetting our selected answers back to an empty list. For this, we now just have to switch from final to var, or since I'm defining the type here, actually just remove final, since this will then automatically turn this back to a variable, because we can only set this to a new value with the equal sign operator if this is a variable. That's what I mentioned before. So with this switched back to a variable, once we exhausted our questions here, we should reset selected answers back to an empty list. And with that, if you now save this and force a restart, you can start the quiz again, go through all questions, and if you now start again, you can go through them again without running into an error. Of course, that's not the final version of the app. The result screen is still missing, but that's how we can use this selected answers state to show a different screen once all questions have been answered.